In the last episode of Launch Title Madness, F-Zero blew the doors off of 1-2 Switch and shoved its stupid little Joy-Con so far up its candy ass that it won't be able to walk right for the rest of its natural-born life. And we also saw a head-to-head battle between two iconic racing games, with Forza 5 edging out PlayStation 1's iconic Ridge Racer. In today's episode of Launch Title Madness, Killzone Shadow Fall takes on Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and zombies rise from their grave in ZombiU to go against the Cowboys in the Wild Wild West of Gun.
And every day I get the same answer. Cactus Jack. Bang bang!
Do you have enough lead in your pencil to endure the madness? Do you have what it takes to survive another episode of Launch Title Madness?
Gaming off the grid! Boom shakalaka!
It has been a while, but it is time for episode 8 of Launch Title Madness. We've just had other videos to tend to, but the series is not going anywhere. In today's episodes, there's going to be some close battles.
It's going to be tough. This is really tough. So the first matchup is Killzone Shadow Fall on the PS4 versus PS3's Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Let's look at these contenders.
Can Killzone finally be that counterpart to Xbox's Halo? The first game developed for the PlayStation 4, Killzone Shadow Fall, had a lot to live up to. Did it deliver? Is it a substantial enough launch title to advance in Launch Title Madness? Let's find out.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance is an action RPG developed for the PlayStation 2, the Xbox, and the 360, and a few weeks later was a launch title for the PS3. Setting place in the Marvel Universe and featuring multiple superheroes, supervillains, and more, does Marvel Ultimate Alliance have enough superhero power to move on in Launch Title Madness? Let's find out.
Man, where are you leaning here? Because this is a tough one for me.
This one's very tough.
I think, so, Killzone, just as a whole, in my mind, and not this game in particular, but is kind of always failed to deliver. I know Sony back in the day, I think it was kind of drummed to be their competition for Halo.
It does have a Halo vibe to it, and
it's never got there.
No, I feel like it just tries too hard, and it's kind of fun, but then you're like, it's just kind of generic.
Yeah, there's something about the games that, like, they're okay, not bad, but it's like there's so many other good first-person shooters that if you were to play them, would you pick up, a Killzone game? For a launch title, it was not a ton of paint on the canvas either for the PS4.
But if you look at its competitor, Ultimate Alliance, that was a port technically, and it came out a couple weeks later for the PS3.
Yeah. When
it initially got released, and that game is fun, and it started a really cool series. But when you go back and play it, that one's also dated as well.
Yeah. Well, and then there's another game in this specific episode that's kind of goofy, like Marvel Ultimate Alliance. People might say, well, it wasn't an exclusive launch title to the PS3, but the PS3 just wasn't out yet.
Yeah.
I mean, the game, I think, was ready because it released 2 weeks later, so I don't know if it's fair to take that away from it. I mean, I know which of the two games I would rather play. I would rather play Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah, that's what I'm leaning towards.
It's definitely not the best in the series, but I can see myself wanting that really bad on the PS3 when it came out, which I didn't get one right when it came out, but I did get Marvel Ultimate Alliance, as it went on, for sure. And I've had all the Killzone games, but haven't beat a lot of the Killzone games. They just don't hold me.
You kind of just play it, and then after a while, you're like, this story kind of sucks, and you get bored. That's just how I felt when I was playing Shadowfall, but I think I'm leaning towards Marvel Ultimate Alliance. It's a sweet game.
Yeah.
And the co-op aspect,
it is.
Co-op.
And those games have never been, console pushers, like as far as pushing the boundaries for graphics and technological innovation and all that. The games are just fun.
They are really fun. And I know it's Launch Title Madness, but I think Ultimate Alliance has to move on.
And you know what? I'll argue that it is a launch title for the PS3. I mean, it was a launch title for the PS3. I don't look at it as a port because I think it was ready to go. It was just a 2-week window, and the better version of the game wasn't on the PS2. It was on the PS3. So I'm good with Marvel Ultimate
Alliance. Now we got to move on to the next matchup, and that's ZombiU from the Nintendo WiiU versus Gun. ZombiU was released for the Nintendo WiiU in 2012 and was later released on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. This first-person survival horror game received mixed reviews but offered a multiplayer mode exclusively on the Wii U. Are zombies still the craze, or does this 9-year-old video game need to go back to the grave? Time will tell.
Some things just never go out of style. A good fitting pair of Levi jeans, some good tasty beef jerky, and cowboy video games? In 2004, Red Dead Revolver showed that the interest in a Western-styled video game was still there. And in 2005, Neversoft attempted to capitalize on this matter with their video game Gun. Initially released on the PlayStation 2, Xbox, and Nintendo GameCube, a few weeks later it was released on the Xbox 360. Can this cowboy-themed action role-playing game with loads of side missions make you feel like you are a real cowboy? Can this game make you feel like you are Colton White with its third-person perspective? Stay tuned. Man, I'm struggling with this one because I legit love both of these games.
These games,
I love them.
These games are so sweet. So Gun reminds me a lot of Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah,
because it's like the cowboy style, and then there's that slow motion gunshot, which is really cool. And then ZombiU has that really sweet multiplayer option on the Wii U.
Yeah, it's tough because we have all this perspective now of the Red Dead games.
Yeah, but it was before that.
It's a Neversoft game. And there's something about the game that I've always just loved, and this is kind of similar to Marvel Ultimate Alliance in the sense that it came out on the PS2 first and Xbox, but it came out a few weeks later on the Xbox 360.
Yep, so it was a launch title. I
think it's still considered a mainline game on the 360, and that's the version we're talking about here. I mean, even going back and playing it, which I already knew I loved the game is still badass. Now visually, it was an early 360
but
game.
It's still really fun, and the story's really cool. You feel like a freaking cowboy when you play.
You do, and the controls, I like them. I maybe it's because I'm used to them, but I don't feel like I'm playing like a dated, archaic third-person shooter, which you can go, in the slow-mo. I think you go to first-person, but, I really enjoy the game. And then ZombiU, man, if you're a survival horror fan, a zombie game fan, and this game was on other consoles,
I think,
but the best versions.
Well, I think if you're playing it just for the main story, you might want to play it on other consoles. But on the Wii U, it's only available the multiplayer. Oh, it's with the mastermind and everything. It's so much fun.
It is, and I would argue single player. I'd rather play it on the Wii U as well because of the tablet interface. It's such a unique game.
This is a
really, really, really tough one. Man, it almost goes for me which way are you going to play it? Because obviously if you and I were sitting down to play some games, we would probably put in ZombiU 9 times out of 10 over Gun because of the co-op piece, because it's so fun.
That's just what we do, yeah.
But if I'm just chilling and want to play through a game, I'm putting in Gun. I legit love both of these games. This is, for me, thus far, this is the hardest matchup because they're both badass. And I think they're both must-own titles.
Since we're comparing launch titles, what do you think pushed more consoles? Gun or ZombiU?
I think ZombiU, it's hard to say. I don't know what people were thinking. But ZombiU showcases the Wii U in a far better fashion than 360. And my love for Gun, it started when I got the game on the PS2. Now, I like playing it on the 360 better, but I don't think people were maybe running out and buying a 360 because of Gun. It would have been, because of your Halos and things like that. I don't know that it was because of Gun. For launch title purposes and the fact that these are so damn close, I'm just ever so slightly leaning towards ZombiU.
Yes, I'm leaning towards ZombiU as well, but
it's an amazing game. They're both
really good. But I think we're biased because we have a co-op channel, and it's a co-op
masterpiece.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It's so freaking cool how one person can have the tablet, and it's a way different experience than being on the screen.
It's amazing. Bums me out because I don't want anyone to think that if you see Gun on the cheap on 360, or maybe it's on PS3, I guess I don't even know off the top here, but you need to pick that game up. It's awesome. You've referred to Red Dead Redemption, great comparison, but far less open world that's more of a linear experience, kind of goes mission by mission, where you guys know how Red Dead is. I don't have to explain that to you.
Open.
But there is an open world aspect. You feel like it's open world, but it's more of a linear game. But damn, that's a tough one. But I think we have a quorum here. I think we can. I think we can move on. ZombiU.
ZombiU from the Nintendo Wii U is moving on. So in the next round, it will face Marvel Ultimate Alliance, which, oh geez, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, cool part about this matchup here, though, is a lot of these games, I think Marvel Ultimate Alliance is probably the most expensive, and it's still pretty cheap. Like, you can get, like, ZombiU, like, they're giving that game away.
Oh, yeah.
Guns relatively affordable, and, yeah, it's the best on 360. You can get it dirt cheap on PS2, and it's still badass. Still a great game. And, you know, Killzone Shadow Fall. I mean, those early PS4 games are just, you know, super
you find
cheap.
them everywhere, too.
But if I were to go out, if I had, you know, 10 or 15 bucks in my wallet and I seen all these games at the thrift store, I would get Gun, ZombiU, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and I would leave Killzone.
Yep.
Like, no joke. Not even a question.
It's fun for a while, but then it just gets tired.
Yeah, and there's something in the back of my head. I was so pissed when the PS2 one came out because, you know, hey, I didn't have an Xbox. I wanted a game like Halo. Now, I eventually found Red Faction 2 and was like, this is it. But I got Killzone. The game's 2-player split screen, dude. You can't play 4-player split screen on the original Killzone. What?
That's so dumb.
And I know that's not even in this episode, but ever since then, every time I get it, I'm just like,
you're annoyed by it.
These cocksuckers
well, and even
can't get this game right.
Shadow Fall, you can only play multiplayer online.
Yeah,
it's only online, which is annoying.
It just is, for as good as Sony does with their exclusives, I just feel like they have never got Killzone to the place that they maybe envisioned when they started the series. So it's definitely in the back of the bus as far as this episode goes. And our opinions, let us know in the comments below if you feel differently about Killzone, but if you do, you probably don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I'm seeing pretty clear, and I have clarity, so let's talk about this beer.
Yeah.
The spectrum of clarity.
Ooh, I see what you did there.
Play on words. This is an American triple IPA by Single Speed Brewing Company. What do you think?
I mean, I'm not the IPA guy, but this is one of the better ones we have brought into the room in a while.
Yeah, this is so good, and like the craze right now is like hazy IPAs and juicy IPAs.
Yeah.
And this is just a straightforward triple IPA. It's gonna punch you in the face with hops.
Yeah, it's great.
I think there's like 5 different hops in this. It's so hoppy. It's so good. This is a very good beer.
It is well balanced.
From Iowa.
Yeah, Single Speed Iowa Brewery. This is a limited release. Fun little story. Their head brewer, his name is Austin. When I was in college doing the assistant manager thing at a grocery store just to make ends meet, this young little fella was a checker stalker. And he was an awesome kid, and I haven't talked to him for so long. We used to kind of text back and forth, and then time goes by. He'll probably never see this, but Austin, man, if you're brewing stuff like this, man, you're dialed in, bro.
It's so good.
Check out Single Speed Brewery. Get it however you can, but this is damn good. And we've had other good beers by them before.
Oh, they have a lot of
like a one-off.
Tip the Cow. That's
yeah, that's really good. Was it Milk Stout?
Yeah,
that's a good
that
one.
one's really good.
Cow.
Yeah.
Milk, moo.
Iowa.
Yeah, see, get it?
Get it.
Yeah, everything's coming together now. And speaking of coming together, I mean, I feel like episode 8 came together a little easier than we thought.
But it was still tough, and I'm still like hesitant with my decisions. You know what I mean? I'm like,
sometimes you just got to be rough and tough with your freaking Afro Puff, man.
Rough and stuff with my Afro Puffs.
That is a wrap of episode 8. Thanks for hanging out and watching these launch title madness videos because they're a passion project. They just don't do very well, but we have a good time with them. We hope you do too. And I guess we'll see you next time right here on Gaming Off the Grid. Bang, bang! And speaking of the coming to get, dude, you can't be scared. You just got to pull the trigger and pretend you're playing gun and just make decisive decisions. And when those guys are climbing over the edge of the ship, you can't be thinking about, how do I feel about my decisions? You just have to make a decision.
What if they have a family back home?
See, that'll get you killed.
Yeah, and you can't get killed.
That'll get you killed. Not bad, but it's like there's so many other good first-person shooters that if you were to play them, you know, would you? Speaking of Ridge Racer, right out there. And and we also saw